There we go. Good evening. And good evening, Mr. Firstenberg. How are you, sir?
Excellent, thank you. I'm happy to be with you here, to be your guest.
Very nice of you to join us tonight or this afternoon, where you are.
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, and
of course,
not far from Hollywood. Right here.
You can see the sign from your house, can you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes.
That's a nice view. So yes, let's have a look. Right, everything's online. We're all live. So yes, this is Mr. Firstenberger, or may I call you Sam for this?
Yes, absolutely.
So yes, director of American Ninja. Because what was it called in America first? Was it? It's because it's known in different names.
Here in the United States, it was American Ninja right away from the beginning. But I know in Europe there was a confusion. In France, it was American Warrior. In Spain, Guerrero Americano, something like. So either American Fighter or American Warrior. But I think the reason this was 1985, and I think that in Europe there was the concept of ninja. The word ninja did not make any sense from a commercial point of view, from a distribution point of view. I guess I wasn't there, but in France there was a huge, beautiful poster, American Fighter, and the movie as it is, it was in I know it. I just know for a fact in Paris it was at the top of the box office for 2 weeks in Paris. But I guess that the word ninja didn't make sense in Europe at the time, and other countries in the world. Really, there's I don't know where else it was called American Ninja. Later, once it became, the kids understood, the kids liked it, then American Ninja #2, etc.
Yeah, because I think
but American Warrior, American Fighter. I have a German cassette, American Warrior. French cassette, American Fighter.
Because the British censors do not like the word ninja. I know that for a fact, and put a high rating on it because they see that it was violent.
Is that so?
Yeah, because they cut out American Ninja, the first 2 films. They cut out the throwing stars, any reference to throwing stars, the butterfly knife in the second film, and any nunchuckers or anything like that were just the scenes were edited out.
Listen, we had plenty of trouble here in America with censorship, but not with the name. But with I had a shuriken in the head of the kid in Revenge of the Ninja. We had to take it out, and other things as well.
Yeah. So hang on, some people in the chat. I'm just going to say hello to you. How is the traffic in LA? Is it still gridlocked? Says the monkey.
We have here, it's a huge metropolitan. Los Angeles is the metropolitan of Los Angeles is about 9 million people, maybe 10 million people by now. I mean, there are bigger cities, maybe Hong Kong, Shanghai, Peking. I don't know, but most of the people live in one-story, one-family house. So the distances are huge, tremendous distances. Some people say that from one end to the other end of the metropolitan is like 90 miles, let's say like 120 kilometers, 140 kilometers. So there are a lot of, the conclusion is that there are a lot of cars, every household that's 2, 3 cars.
Yeah.
So that's why the traffic is bad.
Nobody walks.
And we have one notorious freeway. It's called the 405, which goes all the way down to the Mexican border, from north to south. And this is particularly bad. 24 hours a day, it's bad. It's congestion and full of traffic.
Yeah. So got Jeff 101 Bronson. Good evening to you.
Yeah, hi.
He's a big Bronson fan, is Jeff. So have you met Charles Bronson when you were dealing with Canon?
I did meet him, but not on a personal level to a level of talking with him. We were in Canon. They made a lot of movies with Bronson. And some of them with J. Lee Thompson, the director of the Guns of Navarone. J. Lee was a very nice man, and we became friends in the corridors, in the editing rooms.
Okay.
In Canon there were many editing rooms next to each other, and maybe I was editing one movie, he was editing another one, so we became friendly. And I visited him on the set of shooting, and he directed few Canon Bronson movies. That's where I met Bronson, but that's just on the level of hello, my name is Bronson, my name is Sam Firstenberg. That's it. Other stars, I was more friendly and familiar with Chuck Norris, because
I was going to say, Chuck Norris was my next question.
It was a different level. Bronson was very private. When he was not on the set shooting, he had a caravan. Caravan was closed, and he's a loner.
I heard he had a Jaguar car that would take him about 2 feet from the trailer to the set sometimes.
And everything has to be. I was there. I was observing. Everything has to be ready. When he walked from the caravan to the set, everything had to be ready for the shoot. That's it. He didn't have any patience to sit there to wait for lighting or anything. No, by then he was not so young anymore. But I don't think that this was the reason. And he and J. Lee, they had a good relationship. J. Lee Thompson.
Yeah. They made a few films, didn't they?
And Bronson.
So we've got the Dutch film buff. Good evening to everyone and us. Okay, Jeff, Dutch film buff and 101 Bronson in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. The monkey. He's in the US. I saw a VHS of that in sale. I remember my father scolded the seller thinking it was a forgery. Okay. That was a trouble back in the 80s, I guess. Yeah, a copy of the VHS being fake.
Yeah. In some countries, I not long ago, now I'm invited to festival, not now, before the COVID pandemic, I'm invited to festival. Yeah. And some of them into previous communist country. Let's say I was invited to Poland, I was in Czechoslovakia and and over there, American Ninja was forbidden. They did not allow to distribute the VHS, but there were a lot of pirated VHS. That they smuggled from Germany, from England, so they told me, the kids, that they told me how those smuggled VHS, but this was when we made those movies, Revenge of the Ninja, American Ninja, starting from the year 1980 and on. This was the high time of VHS. This was the beginning of home video, and in every corner, at least in America, but I believe in Europe as well, in every corner of every block almost there was a rental shop. And the more older guys of you who are listening, they remember huge long shelves with cassette, VHS, and this was the motivated. This was the money that propelled the type of movies that we made, not only in Canon, other, but all the Stallone, Schwarzenegger movies, Van Damme movies, and Chuck Norris. This was what propelled it, because we were not part of the studio. So this was the thing, the VHS market. Later on, the studio entered, also started, the big studios started to exploit this market as well.
Right. Let's see. Let's have a look. Everyone's saying hello. That is correct. How Cheetah will view.
American Ninja was amazing. Let me tell you something about American Ninja, and that's an interesting story. We started in Canon. Canon invented the ninja concept for the Western audience. I mean, there were some ninja television series in Japan prior to this, and ninja appeared here and there in a Hong Kong movie, in kung fu, in the martial art movies from Hong Kong, but not as a major subject, not as the main subject, only in Japan. And Canon, in the company Canon, Menachem Golan, they adapted this concept and they produced the first movie, it was called Enter the Ninja. And then the company made Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3, The Domination, which I directed, both of them. And then suddenly the head of the company, Menachem Golan, came up with this idea, let's make an American Ninja movie, which the title is American Ninja. Now, the fact that we made ninja movies where the ninjas were not villain, which was already a revolutionary idea, because the ninjas traditionally in the Japanese mythology, they are the bad guys, they are the villains always. And whenever they also appeared in some of the Hong Kong movies, they appeared like the villains, like bad guys. And suddenly came a company from Hollywood and said, no, we'll take this ninja concept and we'll make them good guys. Shokasugi in Revenge of the Ninja is the good guy. He's the hero. He's the protagonist. So that by itself was already a revolutionary and crazy idea. Then the head of the company, Menachem Golan, came and said, not only this, now I want to make a movie about American ninja. So the ninja will not even be Japanese anymore. He will be a protagonist, but he will be a white guy, American white guy. This was even crazy. So, I mean, I was entrusted to direct it, and I thought it was a good idea. I love American movies, and I like action movies. But when we made the movie, so we started from, there was nothing. We started from writing a script. There was a writer. We wrote a script. And then we liked the character very much that we created in the script. And then came the casting. And we were looking and looking. And finally, we found Michael Dudikoff was chosen as the American Ninja. And they sent us to the Philippines to shoot the movie. The movie was shot in the Philippines, was filmed in the Philippines. And all those movies that I mentioned, the ninja movies, they were not big budget movies, not major studio movies. They were small, medium budget, what they call a small budget. So they were independent small movies. Revenge of the Ninja had quite a success, was moderate success. It played with the 800 copies in 800 theaters, and then in America, and then they moved it to the West, another 800 theaters. So there was a moderate success. But when we made the movie American Ninja, we believed that it will be the same thing, kind of a small movie, VHS, go to cassette, home video, maybe a kind of a moderate success in the theaters, and that's it. While we were making the movie, we could not imagine what will happen, what success will be American Ninja, or how good a movie it will. It's very hard to predict the quality of a movie while you're shooting the movie, while you're filming the movie, even while you're editing. Only the final product and the audience reaction will tell the director, the creator, how good a movie it is or how bad a movie it is. So when this came out, American Ninja, we did not expect this kind of success and this kind of reaction from the young people, and how it's considered, like we see here, it's considered a good movie. And it's the age of the movie is already 35 years. It was made 35 years ago, and it's still being viewed all over the world. Veteran audience, people who saw it when they were teenager, and they were reminiscent. But there are new today's teenagers see it. It might be a situation of father and son. They show them. But the movie is being screened in festivals, in all the streaming services all over the world. So it's really it's a surprise. So thank you for saying American Ninja is amazing, but the success is amazing. It's amazing. It was amazing for everyone, including myself. That I was there from the beginning of the creating of the movie. I was tremendously surprised to the success of this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Comment from Terence McGuire. He's also done a he recently did a month of Canon Films reviews, and some of the ninja films, and some of yours were in there.
Terence, listen. You're attaching. First of all, thank you very much for the compliment. Fantastic director. Thank you. But anyway, you're attaching now something very interesting. Ninja 3: The Domination. Ninja 3: The Domination. It's 35 years now. It's more than 35 years. Almost 40 years since we made it.
Yeah.
And what historically what happened to this movie is amazing. And I'll briefly tell you what happened.
Okay.
After we made the movie Revenge of the Ninja, Sho Kasugi, as I mentioned before, was moderate success. Was not bad. It was distributed by MGM, by a major company, so which means a major studio saw it worthy of distributing Revenge of the Ninja. And then the head of the company, same thing, the same guy, Menachem Golan, he decided to make, immediately they wanted to make another movie because Revenge of the Ninja was a financial success. So immediately they wanted to make another ninja movie. But for some reason, he I don't know why, I still don't know until today, why he didn't want to continue with Sho Kasugi as the main protagonist. Sho Kasugi is in the movie, Revenge of the Ninja, but not the main hero, the main character of the movie. And he called me to his office and said, "Why don't we make a movie now? Let's make it with a girl." He just threw it with a female ninja. So, fine, that's a good challenge to me.
Yeah.
And we had the writer of Revenge of the Ninja, Jim Silk, and he was commissioned, and I started to work with him. And Sho Kasugi was supposed to be in the movie, and there was some problem. Sho Kasugi really rejected the idea of a female ninja because in his mind she didn't. A female could not have the forces, the power, the physical power to be a ninja. Let's put it this way. Though I must say that one time in one Hong Kong movie, I saw a bunch of female ninja, bad girls. But so he was rejecting, he was really against the idea. And we wanted to appease him, to resolve the situation that he will be in the movie, he will be part of the movie, and it will make sense. And between Jim Silk, the writer, and myself, we came out suddenly. At the time, also, the movie Poltergeist came out. It was the time of Poltergeist came out. And I was always very impressed by when the movie The Exorcist came. Exorcist was the first horror movie I ever saw in my life. The Exorcist. So Poltergeist were out. So I was talking with Jim Silk. Said, let's make her. She will be possessed by ninja forces, so she's not really ninja, not trained ninja, but another ninja who dies will transfer his powers and spirit and whatever, like a poltergeist type of a movie, like a possession exorcist. And now she becomes a ninja in light of being possessed by a force. Okay, everybody liked the idea. Sho Kasugi liked the idea, and we started to develop the script.
Okay.
As the script developed, so we were influenced by Poltergeist. We were influenced by also the dance movies, some dance movies before, and we knew that the character, she has to be athletic. We looked for somebody. We eventually we found Lucinda Dickey that was a dancer. She was really a dancer in life. And so we figured out aerobic instructor will have enough physical ability. When she's possessed by the ninja, she will have the forces. And then came the idea of to have a scene of exorcism, and it became crazy. Every day we had another idea. The whole her house is haunted. The spirits are coming out of the cabinet, etc., etc., etc. Sho Kasugi predicted that the movie will not succeed because the woman, and he was right. The movie Ninja 3: The Domination did not have the success of Revenge of the Ninja, financially or popularity, not at all. Not the same thing, which means the audience did not. I don't know. The audience accepted Sigourney Weaver in the space movie, but in this case, it didn't work. So, okay, the movie played a little bit in theaters, was on VHS, played, and then disappeared. Let's say for 10 years, I didn't hear one word about it. And then suddenly, let's say 15 years ago, it started to emerge slowly. I start to get interviewed, people start to ask me questions, and then by through the internet and through interviews, I start to understand that the movie is re-emerging now, but now as a cult movie. Not as a serious movie, but among cult seeker, people who look for strange, different movies. And since then, in the last 5 years or 10 years, there are screenings all over the world in film festivals. There are special screening of Revenge of the Ninja. There is websites dedicated to. There are tons of followers of this movie. In the beginning, we when we made it, we believed it was silly. It's still silly, even with people who see it today. But it gained the status of good bad movie. What they call good bad. I have her book, which is the Bible of the bad movies. This is one. Ninja 3: The Domination is included in the Bible of the bad movies. So it's now considered a good bad movie. Websites, followers, merchandising. People are looking for all the original cassette VHS. And I was invited to some festivals around the world just for the screening. And just before the pandemic hit, it was February, there was a screening here in Los Angeles, in downtown, in a film club. There is a film club and they project only 35 millimeter. They don't do video, only original films. Good. And there was a screening. I was invited, and people came with costumes, ninja costumes, to the screening, and they know the lines. They know by heart all the lines of the movie. So they like The Room, like the movie The Room. So they talk with the screen and they exchange lines. So yes, so now many, and I get a lot of like, comment, like you say, the gift of Ninja 3: The Domination. An antidepressant. I'm happy that you like it. I'm happy.
That's on the poster now.
I'm happy that you like it.
Yeah, because Terence, he interviewed, was it Stephen Lambert, your stunt coordinator?
Yes, Steve Lambert started with me in Revenge of the Ninja, where when I entrusted to direct Revenge of the Ninja. And I was assistant director in many movies. I didn't have too much experience in action movies. Here and there, I worked on an action movie. I was a fan of action movies. Okay, James Bond, samurai movies of Akira Kurosawa. I view them. I like them very much. So, I knew by default that you need a stunt coordinator on the set when you make an action movie. You need somebody. So we had Sho Kasugi, which was Sho Kasugi was in charge of choreographing the martial art fights. Of course, he's a master. He's famous, etc. But we needed somebody for action. I was introduced through one. I didn't know any stunt coordinator at the time, but through one stunt coordinator, another one. Eventually, I was introduced to Steve Lambert. Luckily enough, Steve Lambert is also a martial artist, not only stunt coordinator. So he's a martial artist, but through the years he developed, he worked a lot, developed knowledge, I started to make a storyboard of all the action sequences in the movie. And storyboard, most of you know, but whoever doesn't know, it's a kind of a pictorial depiction of what the action will look like, stage by stage. Every movement of the action, the car goes in, somebody flies through the window, somebody is using. So there is a storyboard artist who prepare storyboard, 6 pictures per page, which later on we use on the set. And I started to work with Steve Lambert, listening to his advices regarding the action sequences that we want. Now, when we in pre-production and in preparing the movie, sometimes the location, when we find the location in a low-budget movie, we are not studio major big budget movie. So we find a location that we like for an action sequence. Now we have to modify the action according to geography. What are the elements of the location that we found? Either a factory or a hilly area or lake. So I started to work with that, and I told Steve Lambert, which was on charge of the action, I said, Steve, don't limit yourself, at least at this stage of preparation. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever comes to your imagination, let's put it on paper. Maybe not everything will be executed, because action means money. Every move means money. You want to flip a car, it costs money. You want to blow up a car, it costs money. Horses have to gallop from one side, from one hill to another. Everything in action costs money. Right. So maybe the producer will not approve everything, but let's plan for it. And that's the way I was with him, and I was encouraging him really, and he was encouraging me. So we got each other excited, and we made this movie. Then when we were when we started to prepare Ninja 3: The Domination, we invited Steve Lambert again with us. Now we went completely crazy, because now we felt comfortable with each other. We felt very comfortable that we know how to manipulate the budget, how to manipulate the money, and still get whatever we want. Okay. And that's why people who know Ninja 3: The Domination, they know that the opening sequence of action goes on and on for like 12 minutes.
Yeah, that's a big opening.
It doesn't stop. And later on, the endings in the end. So I worked with Steve Lambert. Later I worked with him also in American Ninja. He came with us to the Philippines. Oh, yes. And we did American Ninja. But Steve Lambert later, from that point on, he moved on to big budget movies, studio movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was the work. Okay. And other big movies with Chuck Norris, with Van Damme, with other movies. Yeah. So that's my history, and a few years later I worked with him again.
Okay.
Good evening.
Ben from Rider 18. Yeah, your films are being released on 88 Films on Blu-ray. So yeah, getting
correct
picture quality and everything.
Let me tell you, in Britain, in England, maybe all over Europe, it's being the Blu-ray. 88 contact me. This company that distributes Blu-ray movies, they contacted me one day, and they probably made a deal with MGM. The movie still belongs to MGM. All the movies that I directed still belong to MGM. So I think 88 Film made a deal with MGM, and they told me they are going to release it, the Blu-ray of the Ninja movies. And they asked me if they wanted to make a documentary that will be additional material on the Blu-ray. Okay, yeah. And I actually got me very excited, because by then there were already few Blu-ray came out already here in the United States, which I did commentary, only audio commentary. So one of them I did together with Steve Lambert, Ninja 3: The Domination here locally. I did one with Shabadu, Electric Boogaloo, Breakin to Electric Boogaloo. But they wanted to make a documentary, so I really was excited. They told me they will send somebody from Europe. And meantime, so I volunteered, and I told them I will collect as many people which were involved in making American Ninja. Okay. And let's make it into an event. Everybody will come to my house, and so we did. Great director Caleb, I think, from Scotland. He directed the documentary, and it was kind of a reunion type of a party in my house. Michael Dudikoff, Tadashi Yamashita, Judy Aronson. Many actors from Enter the Ninja, including the writer. I got the writer Paul DeMilke came to my house, the editor Michael Duffy, and they interview each one separately. They edited it very nice. So when people whoever of you who have this disc, and I don't this Blu-ray, and I don't know if it's still in circulation, if they still have
they're limited, aren't they? The 88 films,
because at some point they ran out. They ran out at some point. But the documentary is really good. It's like 1 hour documentary. It's good. It's an excellent documentary. So it's definitely a nice bonus. And the quality, especially of the first American Ninja, the quality is excellent. The visual quality. I don't know, for some reason, American Ninja 2, the quality is less, the resolution. But the first one is excellent visual quality, video quality. So yes, and after 88 film, another company here in America, which is called Olive Film, they saw that it's good, and they reached a deal with the MGM. So we made the whole thing again. They did a transfer to Blu-ray, and they wanted documentary. So we did again. I worked with them. I helped them to make another documentary. So,
yeah, certainly.
Yes, it's a nice release. This 88 film.
Okay, we'll check that. American Ninja, Avenging Force, American Ninja were films I watched many times in my youth. Canon was very big in the Netherlands, and they owned those theaters. They owned cinema theaters here and in other parts of Europe.
So you see what happened to Canon. Actually, this was the downfall of Canon, the theater business. Canon, the people who ran Canon were very ambitious, and Canon produced many movies. Gareth and me just spoke about this book.
Yes.
There is a guy here, Austin Turnek. He is writing the entire chronology of Canon, 3 volumes like this. This is the second volume. Yeah, this is the second volume, and he mentions every movie chronologically of Canon, and we are talking about more than 100. I think they had like 400 movies. Not all of them they produce, some produce, some distribute. 400 movies in a short time, within 6 years only. So they became ambitious, the people who ran the studio, the heads of the studio, 2 Israelis, Kazan, Nachem Golan and Yoram Globus. And they started to make bigger and bigger movies, because when we started in Canon, I was there right from the beginning. I was directing there from the beginning, Revenge of the Ninja. And then they started to make bigger movies, some with Toby Hooper, one was shot in England, Life Force actually was shot in England, and bigger movie. Eventually they tried to make a Superman, which was also filmed in England. And at some point, they wanted more. They were very ambitious, and they wanted to create a distribution company and theater. Now, the 2 Israelis in Israel, they own the theater chain, but this is small. Israel is a small country, and the opportunity came to buy the theaters, the biggest chain of theater in England, and they decided to go for it. They took loans from the bank. There was no money, so they took bank loans in order to purchase all the theaters. And now they were dealing with, I think we were talking about many hundreds of theaters, 300, 400, big, most of the theaters in England, in Britain in general. And I think, I'm not an expert. This guy, Austin, is much better than me about the history. But then they started to run into financial troubles, because making movies, they knew how to make movies, but now you have to deal with theaters, with salaries, with people. It's a corporation, whatever. They didn't have enough knowledge, and then eventually it brought to the demise of Canon, bankruptcy. The Canon went bankrupt at the end. Many people contributed to this mistake. They call it a mistake, that they purchased the theater in England. Suddenly, the money was not working anymore right for the company, buying, selling movies. That they believed that it will be bigger. They will become a studio. They will become Universal. Those huge corporations, they can afford to own theaters, etc. Not a small company like Canon.
They bought Elstree Cinema, stage studios, didn't they? As well.
Many people believe that this was the end of Canon came partially because they bought the theater chain in England.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's not leads me to another question, because Jeff says there were ninjas in the Bond film. You only live twice.
Correct. 67.
So, yeah, one of my questions was, you mentioned James Bond before. I was going to say, are you a fan of James Bond, and which is your favorite one of those?
Yeah, I grew up cinematically in the 50s. I was a little kid. Let's say 57, I was 7, 58, I was. But in the 60s, I grew up in cinematically, going to movies, seeing movies. A boy of 10 years old, 12, 14. Dr. No came out, the first James Bond movie. I was a kid, maybe 14, 13, 14. But in general, the diet of the movies, my movie diet was American Hollywood movies. This was the main type of movies that we saw. So westerns in one hand, and what I called regular action, modern action, cars and guns, etc., which is I call it James Bond movies, but there are many Americans movies which has this kind of action. Some of them are crime movies. Some of them are thrillers with the same kind of action, modern action, helicopters, cars, chases, guns. So the James Bond embodies this kind of with the villain, a very clear separation between the villain and the hero. So when I say James Bond, it embodies everything, and that's exactly that. I grew up into these movies, and I didn't know that I will end up directing specifically action movies. It's not exactly what I had in mind. But when I was handed a chance to direct Revenge of the Ninja, I didn't know anything about ninja. Many people didn't know much about ninja. I knew about samurai movies, Akira Kurosawa samurai movies. I knew about a lot of westerns, John Ford, the westerns which are full of action. Also, westerns are also action movies. Crime movies are action movies. So. Right, and I was not familiar with the Hong Kong martial art movie, only with Japanese samurai movies. So right away, it was not my desire. I didn't want to make, and then I was introduced. Sho Kasugi introduced me to the Hong Kong type of martial art movies. He showed me a lot of them because he wanted to explain and to expose me to the type of action of martial art movies. So Sho Kasugi was my mentor at this level of exposing me to this kind of movie. But right away, I didn't want to make this kind of movies. I wanted to make James Bond, right? Doing this kind of action, so-called Western Hollywood action.
Yeah.
So I was successful. I think I was successful mixing those two genres kind of together. A little bit martial art, Hong Kong, a little bit regular action. So we just spoke about it. In one hand, I had Sho Kasugi, the other hand, I had Steve Lambert. And together we came up with this kind of mixture of a movie. And I do believe that this was the one of the secrets or one of the elements to the success of the movie Revenge of the Ninja, because it was hard to expose the Western audience to the Hong Kong type of martial art movie, which is a lot of hand-to-hand combat and a long fight. Though they are magnificent, the action in some Hong Kong movies, the action is magnificent. But the general audience, they needed to be introduced to it. And by mixing the two genres, it was mixed. But you're right. And I think ninjas also appeared in one of the early Chuck Norris, Octagon, or one of those movies.
Oh, yeah.
Also, there was also a villain ninja. But this was, a little...
But yeah, they're never referenced as ninjas, are
like they? Side thing. In some Japanese movies, in some Japanese television show, there were ninjas in a heavy, in a serious way.
Yeah, Yeah, so we've got Matthew from Australia. American Ninja is classic.
Matthew. Today, American Ninja is classic. Thank you, Matthew. But you're right. It achieved a status of a classic movie. That's true, and this is the mark of ninja movie. American, again, I'm repeating myself, Revenge of Ninja, Ninja 3, The Domination, but suddenly we reach some kind of and there are many reasons. One of them is Michael Dudikoff, that he in cinema, the hero is very important. Your lead actor is very important. When you have a movie with Humphrey Bogart, it's a movie with Humphrey Bogart. Not everybody can deliver like Humphrey Bogart.
No.
So part of the success of American Ninja is Michael Dudikoff. His persona, just everything clicked, everything fit. He was the right person to be the American Ninja. The story is a nice, innocent story, and everything fit right. And you're right, it became a classic today. Iconic movie, American Ninja. People still see it. People still read about it. And it plays in many festivals and all the streaming. You can see all the streaming around the world.
Is The Master with Lee Van Cleef a spiritual sequel to American Ninja?
No, I'll tell you what happened. I know about it. I was not involved in The Master whatsoever, but I know because it was Sho Kosugi. Sho Kosugi, after Ninja 3, The Domination, had a fallout with Canon. Oh. So he made 3 movies with Canon. Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3, The Domination. And for some reason, something between him and the company, he was not only the star of the movie, he was also supplying Sho was supplying the wardrobe and the weaponry.
Oh, yes.
He had a company of importing this stuff to America from Japan. So he was the supplier to the movie. Something happened between them. I really don't know. I never learned what happened, and he left. He didn't want to work with Canon anymore, and then he worked with another company, and he made some 9 Lives of a Ninja and another 2 ninja movies. But then he was offered to do The Master with Lee Van Cleef. So he was I visited. He invited me a few times to visit on the set of this television show, The Master. He was in charge of the ninja stuff, or the martial arts stuff. I believe also he was supplying all the wardrobe and the weapons, weaponry, and but they wanted Lee Van Cleef to be the main hero. So I don't know how many seasons the show ran, but it was a try. Yeah. So it's a child brain of the ninja, the early ninja movies.
Yeah, Al's here. He's from New Orleans in Louisiana. So how was Avenging Force? Because I saw you, the whole ending has a big fight in the swamp, which is that hard to do?
When we came back from the Philippines with American Ninja, and we were in the editing room, toward the end of the editing room, the head of the company, Menachem Golan, came to me one day. It was in the mixing room, the sound mixing room, and handed me a script, which was called at the time, it was Night Hunter. And he said, why wouldn't you read it? Tell me if it's a good script for Michael Dudikoff and Steve James. What I didn't know, he didn't tell me, and I didn't know that the script was already rejected by Chuck Norris.
Right.
This script was written for Chuck Norris as a continuation of Invasion USA. Matt Hunter is the name of the character.
It's the same name, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the same. So I didn't know. Chuck didn't want to do it. I can understand it later. Politically, it didn't work for his persona, for the Chuck Norris persona, but that's okay. So I was handed this script, and I read the script. I read it overnight. Wow! I said, what an exclusive script. By the way, it was written by a British actor, James Booth.
Yes.
He wrote the script. And what an explosive script. What a wonderful script. And the script takes place in New Orleans, in Louisiana, the script. So next morning I met with the head of the company, Menachem Golan. I said, Menachem, fantastic. I love the script. It's good for Michael Dudikoff and Steve James. So Menachem Golan said, let's make it. And because they were committed and Chuck didn't want to do it. So, and then I said, okay, we'll go to New Orleans. So Louisiana. Then the company, whatever the budget department, they started to check out, and New Orleans is an expensive town to make movies because it's unionized town. All the movie people in New Orleans are all union. So they told me, okay, take it somewhere, take it to the Philippines, the same story. And I was adamant. Because by the nature of the story, they didn't know the story. You know, the department, the budgetary people, they don't read the script. They see the number, it's too expensive. And so I knew this is by the nature of the script. The swamps, and there is a big scene with the Mardi Gras in the street of New Orleans. So I said, I started to fight with the head of the company, and I was adamant and I was stubborn. And finally, they gave up. And it was expensive. It was the most expensive movie I directed. Now we came to New Orleans. Of course, we started to look scout locations. We went to the bayous, which are the other side of the lake, Lake Pontchartrain from the city, quite a distance. But the more I was there, and I'm talking about the initial stages, the preparation stages, the more I was there, the more I fell in love with it. And I knew that everything will just fall right because we're in the right place. That the intention of the writer, this was his intention, that we are in this strange environment of Louisiana. We are in a deep southern state with the racial tension. And everything fit and everything was right. So I love, in a conclusion, to make a long answer short, I love Louisiana. I love New Orleans. The food is fantastic. I fell in love with the food, with the people. We were shooting among the Cajuns. We were shooting among the Creoles. We were shooting in the city. I love every minute. And it was hard work. This movie, which I consider, I would say, the best action movie I directed. I consider it was hard work. Was really, really hard work. The drive alone every day from the hotel in New Orleans to the swamps, to the bayous and back was 1.5 hours each direction, just the drive, and then 12 hours inside the water, and it was hard, but we enjoyed it. We had a dedicated crew, mixed crew. Some people came from Hollywood, many people from the crew, of course, were local from New Orleans, and we had a good time. At the same time, there was another movie shooting next to us, but a big studio movies. The movie, I forgot the name of it. Not the Big Easy. Another movie.
Yeah, it's probably a few of them at that time, isn't it? Like Southern Comfort and stuff like that.
No, yeah.
Okay, so the Dutch film buff just watched American 1 and 2 with his 9-year-old nephew a few months back. He loved it.
So,
can't blame him.
That's exactly what I'm discovering now. That young people, young generation, it had a lot to do with fathers and sons. This is a boys' movie. It's not so much a girls' movie. It's not that it doesn't lack female fans. This movie, but it's a boy movie. And it's for teenager. The movie is geared for teenager all the way to the age of 35. But the people who saw the movie when they were teenagers, 80s and 90s, they carry it. They remember it for few reasons. I think, I presume, and now they're introducing it to a younger generation. And I learn and I hear a lot by emails that I'm getting and by reaction to my Facebook page, to my web page. People tell me, I saw the movie just like this when I was young, and now I'm sitting and I watch it together with my boys, with my son, and they enjoy it. And it is. you know, there is violence, of course, but it's pretty clean movie. No foul
Yeah.
language, not even one word of foul language through the movie. The love story is very innocent. It's not a sex.
Yeah, I
story.
don't. There's no nudity. Is there, or much blood?
Of course, there is violence, of course, and excitement, but young people always like this movie, and it worked for them, and until today. So this is really it's a miracle. I'll tell you, because in cinema, think about it. Also books, doesn't matter, but we deal with cinema. In cinema, most of the movies produced every year, they disappear after 10 years. You don't hear about them anymore. Especially independent, low-budget movies, which are not supported by the studio. They disappear. Luckily enough, all the movies that I directed for Canon ended up in the hand of MGM, which is a studio. I mean, it's not anymore like in the glory days like it was before, but they still take care of the movies. They reissue them. They make sure the cassettes, the discs will come out, the Blu-ray, and they support. And you know, they have the original negative. They support the quality. Okay. But we were lucky also that you know, including my work, most of the movies I directed disappeared. I had directed about 25 movies. Yeah. Most of them are behind. They're forgotten. But American Ninja, Ninja 3D Domination, Revenge of the Ninja, for some reason, but mostly American Ninja. This is the most from all the movies I directed, is the most popular and movie that still holding. People love it, and there are very loyal, dedicated fans to this movie.
So yeah, like I say, Steve James, because you did Riverbend with him.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's had a proper release yet, has it?
Not, I'll tell you. Steve was fantastic. Fantastic guy, fantastic man. When we were looking for the American Ninja, so we were looking for two characters, Joe Armstrong, the American Ninja, Curtis Jackson, his sidekick. His, you know, the sidekick that through the movie they will get friendly and they will do anything for each other. But this is a formula in American movies, in Hollywood movies. Butch Cassidy, this is a formula in American movies. Yeah. So we started to see people, of course, casting process. Everybody can come in. Now we decided on open call. Open call means everybody can come in, not only professional actors, not only actors who are represented by agent, but anyone can come. So a lot of people came. For the part of American Ninja, we saw about 400 young people. And, you know, we considered many of them. So for the part of Jackson, many people came as well. But I must admit, the minute we saw Steve James, this was it. We didn't have to look any further. He was a martial artist, Steve James, in a certain style of martial art, I don't remember, but his whole appearance, his whole demeanor, you know, with the muscles and the way he looked and the way he walked, the way he talked. And so we liked him right away. We cast him. It took more time to cast Michael Dudikoff. There were a few candidates. Eventually, they didn't meet each other. And we made the movie in Manila, in the Philippines. Steve and Michael did not meet in America. They met over there. So first of all, on screen cinema, the chemistry between them was exactly the way it was written in the script. So it was fantastic. Okay. That's part of the success of the movie. A movie does not succeed if the actors, the stars, are not excellent. Yes. You know, just fit the part. We all know about some big budget movies with big actor names, but they just did not fit the part. Big stars, and sometimes even big movies with big stars flattered because they don't fit the character, the part. And here, in a magical way, Michael Dudikoff, Steve James, they fit exactly the part. There was a chemistry between them that was developing in the script, and you can see how it develops as the story develops. And Steve was an enthusiastic guy. He was very enthusiastic about this part. And so this is on American Ninja, on this level. On a personal level, he was a fantastic man. We became good friends through the years, because I made 4 movies with Steve James. I directed 4 movies with Steve James. And Steve was in a role, he wanted his goal, what he wanted to be the next Black American hero. So he wanted to be Shaft. He wanted to be the Black. And he was on his way. The trajectory was there. He was going there. He did some other movies which were not action movies. You guys know he did some comedies and whatever. But he was on his way to this action, to be the Shaft, next Shaft, Black American action hero.
Yeah.
And again, we made the movie Avenging Force with him, which was he really resented the idea that his character dies halfway through the movie. Really he didn't like the idea. And by the way, many people, even today, still get some reactions. Too bad that Steve James died halfway through the movie. But he understood that this was the character. It was a good character until he dies in the movie. The character, politically involved, candidate, etc. Action. He had enough action stuff. And by the way, Steve James, in all the movies I directed with him, at some point, without asking the director, at some point he takes off his shirt in the middle of a fight, and he continues.
I did notice that.
And that's his own initiative. He just takes off. I asked him once, I said, Steve, you're not asking me, I'm the director. You're not asking me permission, anything. You just take, or he rips off the shirt or takes it off. He told me, are you crazy? All the work that I'm putting into developing this body, and I'm not going to show it off. Of course.
He is right.
Trademark. At some point, in the fight, in some point in the movie, he takes off his shirt. He had a body like a Hercules.
He did. Somehow he looked bigger out of clothes than he did in them.
So we made this, and then we went to South Africa to make American Ninja. It was the kind of the twilight of the apartheid. It was the end of the apartheid, and Steve was a little bit worried about, Black American actor going to the. So I went ahead of everybody because of the preparation, and he called me a few times. I said, Steve, it was really the end of the apartheid, and I told him, Steve, nothing. You will not feel anything, any discomfort. And he came, and this was after American Ninja already played in South Africa, and we couldn't walk with him in the street. He was a hero. Steve was very tall and very impressive character. And now all the African kids, they knew him because they saw the movie. so for them, for the African kid, he was a huge hero. They're coming out of apartheid. And this Hercules, this Black Hercules, that just was in this most popular movie, American Ninja, is walking in the street in Johannesburg. We couldn't walk with him in the street in Johannesburg. And then I had the chance to make with him another movie, which was not a ninja movie, not even very action movie, which is called Riverbend. Racial discrimination in the South in the 60s. And he was very happy. And when he agreed to die in the movie, Night Arter, he always told me, Sam, you owe me. One day you will have to repay for it. He felt that this Avenging Force was not Avenging Force, Riverbend was the payment. It was really the type of character he really wanted to play. We didn't make any more movies together after this, and he continued with his career. But at some point, and I saw him here and there, met with him, but at some point he suddenly was diagnosed with cancer, and the connection ended. The cancer was bad, and he died from this cancer. I heard from people later that he became very skinny, of course, with with all the treatments. I believe, and he didn't want to see people anymore because he didn't want them to see him. He didn't want people to see him not in his peak performance shape.
Yeah.
And so I never saw him during the time that he was there, sick. There was a memorial ceremony. I met his father. His father told me, I know about it. He told me, I know about you. I heard from Steve a lot of stories about you. At some point, Steve was married to an Israeli actress. She appeared in the movie American Ninja #2. She's the girl at the party, the tall, dark-skinned girl. That was his wife. He married.
All right.
And they have a daughter, and she lives here. His daughter lives here, and I'm in contact with his daughter.
That's good.
James. Yeah. So too bad that he died, really. He was on his way to become this kind of
he definitely had the screen presence
hero,
and the muscles.
action hero. And too bad he died. A good, solidly good man.
Yeah. So yeah, you've dipped your toes in horror films as well with Spiders 2 Breeding Ground that Physical Media here likes.
I really enjoy. You really enjoyed the. Okay. When I was when Canon ended, the Canon came to an end. There was bankruptcy, but on the ruin of Canon, a new company came up. It was New Image. New Image exists until today.
Yes.
New Image are people from South Africa that at the time that we made American Ninja #2 in South Africa, in Johannesburg, in association with a company that was called New Metro, New Metro, and together with them, and they became kind of partners with Canon, and they produced few. Canon and New Metro together, they produced few movies in South Africa until the demise of Canon. Canon disappeared. After the change of regime in South Africa, Mandela came to power after the election. They decided to create not only distribution, they were distribution and theater company, New Metro. They decided to create a production company, and they called it New Image, New Image. And the first movie that they wanted to make was it ended up to be Cyborg Cup. They wanted to do some ninja and cyborg mixture right there. So I directed for them the first movie they produced, Cyborg Cup. And I stayed with them for a while, like with Canon, and we made few movies. Now, people who are kind of a little bit familiar with my career know that here and there I made sequels. I was asked to make sequels where the original director was not asked to make sequels. So that's how we ended up with Revenge of the Ninja. That's how I ended up with Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, which is a sequel to Breakin. And the same thing happened here. They produced the movie Spider, New Image. And for some reason, again, I don't know. I usually don't get this, the gossip. I don't know all the gossip. The original director was not hired to do Spider 2. They wanted to do a sequel because they made some money. So they approached me, and I like, I like to deal with different genres of cinema. I don't think that I would do American comedy because I'm not native American, and to make an American comedy, I believe that you have to be there. But this was a kind of a sci-fi, horror sci-fi, not really horror, not pure horror, no slasher, which maybe also I don't think I would be able to do because it's such an American art form, the horror pictures. So anyway, this was sci-fi, and I saw it. I was happy that I got a chance to do a thing, to direct such a movie. The movie was filmed in Bulgaria, in Sofia, Bulgaria. Okay. They have a little studio over there, and again, for some reason, all the movies that were produced by New Image, they ended up in cassette only. They never ended up in theatrically. Later on, they created another company, Millennium Film, which made bigger movies, which we did the movies that went to theater. But in the new Image label, they all went directly to videos, never opened theatrically, and one of them was Spider 2. Now, I had the chance to work in this with some fine actors, good actors, and I had a chance. And the movie is kind of Aliens. It's based on the formula of the movie Aliens. Instead of a spaceship, the entire movie takes place in a ship, where instead of an alien, you have the spider, the gigantic spider. So it's based on the formula of the movie Alien. And I enjoyed it a lot of special effect, it's the first time that I had to work a lot with optical effects, and I had to master a lot of technical cinematic challenges to do the movie. And I'm happy that some people saw the movie, and I know it came out in discs all over the world.
Yeah. Right. Okay. The Dutch film buff. I rewatched Cyborg Cop 2 last night. With a lot of stuff blown to pieces in the movie. Was it pretty expensive to make? Because at the end, everything gets shot or blown up, doesn't it?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Cyborg Cop and Cyborg Cop 2, I was again in South Africa to make them. So this was the resurrection kind of this new company, New Image, which operated on the same type of formula of Canon film. So no, it was not expensive. Just to get it right off the bat, those were also low budget movies. When I say low budget, it's not extremely low budget movies. We are filming 8 weeks and 6 days a week. I can call them medium budget. To be more clear, we can call them medium budget. They are not like the cheap dirt low budget movies. And because we were in South Africa, we can stretch the money. It's a very especially at the time was very cheap. I don't know how it is today. So salaries were much cheaper. So if you are using the exchange of currency between dollars, American dollars, and South African rand, we can achieve much more for less money. And so locally, in South Africa, there is a very good special effect man, pyrotechnic man. He's fantastic. I work with him in all the movies that I work. And I brought with me some of the stunt crew came with from here, but most of the stunt are local, South African local. During when Canon made some action movies in South Africa, Ellen Quatermain, American Ninja Number 2, a whole generation of stunt people and pyrotechnic and effect people had a chance to learn and to grow and to come to maturity. So when I was asked with this new company, New Image, to make Cyborg Cop and Cyborg Cop 2, we already had enough people in South Africa without bringing from Hollywood stunt people, pyrotechnics, special effects, weapon people. There were enough people to work with them. So that's why. And the idea, and we didn't want to make the movie to look like South Africa. So the first Cyborg Cop kind of looks like Caribbean island. That's why we had some reggae music. So we were very careful to make sure that it will look like this kind of place. But the second one that you're mentioning is really it a make believe that it is in Los Angeles, that it's in California, and therefore, but in South Africa we had to switch the traffic in the like in England, so we had to switch the traffic and exterior shot and the many things. But it was successful. It doesn't look like South Africa.
No, it doesn't. I didn't think South Africa when I saw it.
But again, I think that both of those Cybercop movies are good movies, good action entertainment, sci-fi action, because it has, of course, the cyborgs, but they didn't get a lot of enough exposition. They were not exposed enough. They never played theatrically. Only maybe in some countries, but they went directly to discs all over the world.
Yeah.
I love Ninja 3. Okay.
Danny from the Tasties and the Molson fan.
As I said, it is considered today a good art movie, a good bad movie. I was invited to a film festival in Madrid, Cutricon Film Festival, which translates to trash movies, if you can translate it from Spanish. And the whole festival is dedicated to this kind of movie. And they screened Ninja 3: The Domination. And again, whatever screening I go nowadays, when it became a cult movie, whenever I go to and I see Ninja 3: The Domination, the crowd, the audience is very loud, very lively. And it became like kind of like The Room, like the movie The Room. People interacting with the screen, with whatever happens in the screen.
Yeah, I never get to see any of them in the cinema. They were 18s and over in the UK, so I had to wait for them to be on VHS to see them all. Oh. So I wasn't allowed in the cinema.
Well, hopefully I'll come to England to a film festival a little bit when the pandemic is over. Some film festival in England will invite me.
I'm sure they will.
With Ninja 3, American Ninja. In many film festivals there is a nostalgic corner.
Yeah, there definitely is.
This is the nature of the festival. They invited me. Yeah.
So we got. Now, 101 Bronson did send me some questions. Hang on. How do you feel about Quentin Tarantino saying that Ninja 3: The Domination is one of the best canon films ever?
Listen, by watching Kill Bill, just by watching number 1 and 2, and I know the history. I knew that everybody knows Tarantino is famous. Everybody knows that he was tending a video shop when he was young. He was running a video shop, and while he was running the rental, he used to watch all the movies.
Oh, yes.
And it was famous that he likes this kind of movies. By watching Kill Bill, you can see a lot of Revenge of the Ninja 3: The Domination. I know he's also an expert of the Hong Kong movies. In general, he's a genius. He's an expert on all kinds of movies, etc. But at some point, we already there was a documentary movie. People who saw a documentary movie about Canon film, and the movie is called The Electric Boogaloo, the secrets, the mystery of Canon. In the movie, the people who made the movie, they're from Australia. They interviewed a lot of people who are connected with Canon. I was there.
Yes, I saw that.
And one of the director, Eli, what's his second name? He's a good friend of Tarantino. So in the movie already, he tells in the movie, Tarantino has a private collection of 35mm movies. Every movie in 35mm, it's like 2 huge boxes, heavy. But he has a private collection and private screening room. So but from this movie on, we already knew that Ninja 3: The Domination is in the collection, part of the collection of Tarantino. It's part of his collection, and once in a while, he watches it with friends. It's a crazy movie. Not long ago, a year and a half ago, so there was a film festival in Jerusalem, the Jerusalem Film Festival in Israel, and he was the guest of honor. Tarantino was the guest of honor. And there was an idea, people from the festival and myself, there was an idea that will give him the festival will give him this book as a gift, as an appreciation, you know. So we arranged to give him this gift. In the festival, there was a session with him, Q&A, and people asked him. So he wanted to be kind and kind of connected, being in Israel, in Jerusalem, and in Israel. So he wanted kind of, and there was this Q&A session was dedicated to Canon.
Okay.
And they asked him his connection to Canon, the way he felt, because when he grew up, when he was running the video shop, this was the high time of Canon. This was when Canon, it was the 80s and the 90s, and Canon. So he was kind enough to mention some Israeli director, and among it, when they asked him, "What's your most favorite Canon movie?" he said, "My most favorite Canon movie is Ninja 3: The Domination." So not only we already knew that in his collection, his private collection, and by watching Bill Kill, you can see the influence of the early ninja movies that we made in Canon, that we direct. But affirmation. So yeah, and so he mentioned it, and he mentioned my name. That when he grew up, I was one of his favorite directors to watch.
Right, we have a young person in the stream.
There are a lot of videos running in the internet with him talking and mentioning it. So thank you guys for watching it. Thank you, Tarantino, for mentioning it.
Yes. So yes, Electric Geek. He hasn't seen the American Ninja films, but he's going to watch them now. But he's young, so we'll forgive him.
So the ninja movie. So let me. What we didn't touch this point, so let me bring it up.
Okay.
Nowadays, those ninja movies, they have a resurrection, and I hope you watch it. Electric Geek. From Electric Boogaloo, Electric Geek. because I am also famous that I'm associated with the phrase Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
Okay. Today there is a resurrection. We mentioned there is a resurrection of those movies, and part of it, when I talk with audience or communicate by mail, etc., one of the reasons is that all the action in those movies that I directed is physical action. We never used any optical effect. No blue screen, no cables flying in the air, nothing. Everything that you see in American Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3: The Domination, American Ninja #2, Avenging Force, everything was physically performed. So stunt people, either the actors or doubles, you cannot risk the well-being of the hero of the movie. So sometimes the double is performing, but everything is physically performed. If you see a car exploding and people coming on flame out of the car, it was physically performed. Ninja 3, you have a car going into a lake with motorcycles behind it. It was physically performed. A car really went with Steve Lambert into the lake. And so on and so on. So many people are mentioning that that's what they find refreshing. They see a lot of today's action movies, which are spectacular. You know, when you see the Fast and the Furious, of course, the action is spectacular to the level that we could not perform. We couldn't execute this kind of action, which is spectacular. I'm not even mentioning the superhero action, Spider-Man.
Oh yes.
I mean, we cannot perform this kind of. But people, when they see suddenly, they see movies, the old-fashioned movies from the 80s and the 90s, I call them old-fashioned, where the action was physically performed, they discover something new. So either they miss this kind of action, or they discover. And I call it that, you know, the way I describe it, I say, or define it, I say, you can feel the pain. Because if we had a guy falling from a second floor to the sidewalk, we really did it. And when he hit the sidewalk, not in one day, no, we didn't. But you can feel the pain. You can feel that it's real. You know,
Yes.
a fight sequence, a punch. Of course, we didn't punch people. Everybody knows it's all optical effect. But it was done in a way that you can feel the pain. You can feel the impact. When you see optical effect, when you see action in optical effect, you kind of dismiss it. When you see this spectacular car flying between two buildings and hits the other side of the building, which is 100 meters away, you know that
It's
don't,
just not real.
don't exist in physics, in real life. So something subconsciously is telling you as an audience, well, it's beautiful, it's spectacular, but it didn't happen. You know, they didn't do it. It's all computerized. It's all effect, and you don't feel it physically. When we had a car going into a lake or roll over 5 times, the car really rolled over 5 times. So
someone had to get it out again.
There's no fitting. So even in a subconscious level, you can feel it. Not necessarily, you don't have to sit there and analyze it, but you can feel it in a subconscious level. So when you see these movies, this listener, this viewer that never saw these movies, when you see it, you will see this. I know you will enjoy the movie. Beside the American, it's a good movie, but you will also enjoy this aspect of it, that the action is physical and it really happened. Whatever you see on the screen really happens physically.
Now, is it true on Revenge of the Ninja you did a jump into an airbag?
Not on film.
Oh no, but just as a test.
In Revenge of the Ninja, well, I was novice and I was new and everything was so exciting. And you know, when most of you viewers, you know, when somebody jumps from a 3 or 4 floor, it's done in two separate take. First, they jump into an airbag. You don't kill them. And then much smaller fall, let's say fall into the pavement. So it's done in 2, the big fight, the big fall, they fall into a big airbag. Now it looks very pleasant. They just fall into this airbag. It looks like a mattress. The air goes out of the bag, nothing happened to them. But it's not correct. You have to know how to fall into the airbag. Today I know that you don't fall with your feet hitting the airbag. Even the airbag has a lot of bounce back. They always fall on their behinds.
Yes. Okay.
So I didn't know. So we were there on the 3rd floor and preparing, and Steve Lambert was next to me. And they started to challenge me. They say, "Why don't you jump? And it's fun, etc., etc." And I wanted to be this macho. I served in the military, you know. I served in the Israeli military. I was a soldier. Of course, what jumping into an airbag looks to me like nothing. No problem. So just for the fun, not on camera. I jumped, but I didn't know. Nobody explained to me the landing. I landed on my foot. It was not a pleasant experience.
Right.
Let me tell you. But there is a photo in the circulating on the internet of me in the air, halfway between the window and the airbag, in between. I look terrified. When I was by the window, it looked nothing, but when I was already in the air with no parachute, I was terrified.
So you've done, was it 4 ninja films and 1 samurai film? So Dutch film it's another one he likes, is The American Samurai with Mr. Bradley and Mr. Damascus. The castle costs, I should say.
Right. Correct. After the bankruptcy of Canon, there was another company that kind of, some of the people who were involved in Canon, they created this company, forget the name of it, but I call it Canon number 2. This is and they wanted to produce few movies. Mm-hmm. The first movie that they had, they purchased. When Canon splintered, the property of Canon went to many debtors, many people, many creditors. As I mentioned before, luckily enough, all the movies that I directed ended up in the hand of MGM. MGM was one of the creditors, and they took care in the last 35 years. MGM really took good care of the movies I directed, the ninja movies. One of the property ended with this new company, and it was a script only. It was a script, not even a script. The right to do a Delta Force movie, because Canon made Delta Force #1, Delta Force #2 with Bronson, with Chuck Norris, not with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
And this new company inherited the right to make another movie, Delta Force, and that's what they wanted to do as a first movie for this new company. And I was designated to direct it. Chuck Norris is not in the movie, but Mike Norris, his son, is.
It is, yeah. It's a family of
and
people.
We produced. It was produced in Israel. Big budget. It's not a small movie at all. It's a good budget movie, and it looks pretty big. And we made it. It was successful. I think the company sold it to Warner Brothers for distribution.
Oh, right.
So they were figuring out what would we do next. They wanted to do something in the vein of Ninja. Now, MGM is very vigilant about guarding the title American Ninja.
I bet.
Anybody who tried to do something with the word American Ninja, MGM was after them. I don't know how did they get the right to do the American Ninja television show, so eventually they decided, American Ninja, American Samurai. They decided, the company decided we cannot use the phrase American Ninja because it's copyrighted by MGM. So American Samurai, it sounds similar enough.
Yeah.
By then I already worked. I was introduced to. Up to this point I didn't know David Bradley, but he was in the movie American Ninja #4. David Bradley. So it was same people of Canon,
Okay.
Yes, I will. So I was introduced to David Bradley, and they sent us to Israel. They had also Delta Force was done in Israel to do this American Samurai. The company really wanted to minimize the expenses. They didn't want to spend too much money, and they remembered, Canon produced Bloodsport. Bloodsport is one location. By the way, it's a movie that I was offered to direct. I rejected. I cannot believe that the movie so successful. I rejected the movie that later became so successful. I declined to direct this movie because it was one location. I didn't like the idea. Anyway, so it came back. It hunted me. It came back later as American Samurai, and so So this was the idea. Let's do it in more or less in one location. It's not only one location, but Bloodsport in one arena. And I had a very good. This time the stunt crew came from Australia, and the stuntman, his name is also Norris. He was the second unit director in some huge Australian movies, action movies. Guy Norris. Guy Norris was the stunt coordinator.
Okay.
No family relation to the Norris family. Later he was the second unit director of wasn't this big Australian movie. Anyway, he came out. He brought with him a stunt crew from Australia and from Hong Kong because they work with the Hong Kong Chinese stunt people, and they were amazing stunt people and stunt double. And I was introduced to. I'm sorry. So I was introduced to David Bradley. We met a few times in Los Angeles before leaving to Israel, and we were looking for the story has to do with his brother, the protagonist, the villain is half brother, is the villain, and I was introduced to. The casting people brought in Mark Dacascos. He was newly beginning, young kid trying to start in the movie business. Now, David Bradley is a martial artist. He's a martial artist, instructor, and martial. And when Mark Dacascos walks in, he is a martial artist, a complete martial artist. artist. But when he walked, his demeanor, and everything. I said, hey, he's a good bad guy. He looks good. He's a good,
okay.
good. And so yeah, we went to Israel. We did all the fights in the arena. Most of the time we spent in the arena filming the various fights, which is, I would say, at least 45, 50 minutes out of the movie is inside this arena fight.
Yeah.
All kind of, we were trying to come up with all kind of weapon, all kind of different, so it will not be boring. So we are not stuck with hand-to-hand fighting non-stop. So together with the stunt people, together with the action, together with the Guy Norris, we came up with devices, all kind of different weapons, different fights, different styles of fight, and that's how it came about. This one.
Yes, a lot of limbs missing and stuff like that in that one.
Gareth, we are chatting like for
an hour and a half. We're there now.
and I would love to be with you guys and keep going. I have other duties that I have to fulfill.
No problem.
Today, other tasks today.
Well, no, it's been great having you. So
and
the book
I'm full of stories, and if you do want, we can do a sequel some other time.
Okay.
We can.
Well, I know I'm going to name it. So
because your viewers and listeners, they have good questions. People who are interested. There are a lot of stories in this book. Stories from the trenches.
Great pictures in there too. It's on the links in the description and the top of the chat.
Marco Siedelman from Germany. A lot of stories and tons of photos inside it. Non-stop photos. And here, American Ninja, Tadashi Yamashita.
It's a whole page.
So people who are interested can purchase this book in Amazon.
It's on Amazon. It's in
there are a lot of
chat.
Stories. I have a page, Facebook page, Sam Firstenberg. Tons of stories over there. there is a page, The Battlefield, the cinema of Sam Firstenberg. Also, they're all connected.
Jeff put the link in as well. There it is. So there's the Amazon link. So get the book there.
Easy to buy. And I'll be happy to be your guest again and continue because, as I say, your guests have a very, very beautiful question, a wonderful question.
Yeah, we've got plenty of films to go through. So that's great.
And I know you told me that you will post it later.
Yeah, I'll send you the links and everything. So there you go. So
thank you very much for having me as a guest.
No problem. It's been great. So I will say goodnight to everyone. I will say goodnight, Sam, and everyone's saying they love your films. Your son interview. Thank you. So all right. Well, let Sam get back to his day. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Good night. And maybe we'll meet again in another one.
Hopefully so.